In this module, we'll talk about the history of solar cells. Of course, there's no way we can go through every little minutiae throughout the history of solar cells, and if you're interested in that, I encourage you to find other sources. In this course, we'll just focus on the milestones that are the most important. So the first milestone I want to mention is Alexander Edmund Becquerel, who as a 19-year-old discovered the photovoltaic effect and thusly created the first photovoltaic solar cell. He used a liquid electrolyte, and for that reason his cell was not that practical. It wasn't also that efficient. Our next milestone in our list is William Grills Adams and Richard Evans Day. They observed the photovoltaic effect in solidified selenium, and this was the first solid-state solar cell ever. After this, just a few years later, Charles Fritts installed the first solar cell array in New York. It had an efficiency of almost 1%, and this was actually a major achievement at the time. And at this time, it's important to notice that electricity was still quite new, and this meant there was a huge optimism about solar cells, because it seemed we could generate the power we would need using this. However, after this, development got really slow, and within a few years electricity became much more common. Power generators sprung up everywhere, and suddenly 1% efficiency from a solar cell was not impressive at all, and it was a way too expensive way to produce electricity. So not a lot happened until the 1950s. And in the 1950s, we got the next big development. This was the invention of the silicon solar cell. So this was pioneered at Bell Laboratories by Calvin Fuller, Gerard Pearson, and Gerald Chapin. And what they created was the first truly usable solar cell. With their work, efficiencies increased greatly, and this led to the modern silicon solar cells of today. I can show you here what a modern silicon solar cell looks like. So on top we have the printed electrodes, and it's a quite thin device, but it's still rigid and really brittle. After the development of the silicon solar cells, optimism again started gripping people within the field. So now we suddenly had 6, 7, 8% efficiencies, and things looked really bright. The problem was prices were still exorbitantly high. And for this reason, we needed another push, and this came in the form of the space race, which we'll talk about in the next video.